All right, welcome into Gridiron Icon, the podcast. And today is a very special day. We have a very special guest this week. I am joined, of course, by my better half, the voice, as I have learned today, the iconic Preston Dennard. How are you, my friend?
My friend, I am wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Can't
Are you
complain.
ready for this one? Are you ready for this episode?
You know,
This one feels
I,
special.
I might know a little bit about this guest, so
Okay.
sure, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, folks. Well, I'll tell you what, here it comes, the very uncomfortable preamble and introduction for an iconic guest in his own right. We are going to talk wide receivers and also a lot of versatility. But what makes this special is we're keeping it in the family this week at Gridiron Icon. Our guest was a multi-sport star in both football and basketball. I've also come to learn he played a little soccer and baseball. Named All-City and All-State for football in 1996 and 97 at Jabola High School in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Was a USA Today honorable mention in 1997. He was the Scout Team Player of the Year as a true freshman at the University of Nevada after moving on to Phoenix College, where he played wide receiver and punted. Talk about versatility, and was named the team's offensive MVP. He then moved on to Arizona State, became a Sun Devil, played in the Aloha Bowl, where he scored a touchdown. But throw it all out the door, folks. Most importantly, he is family. We are welcoming in the great Ryan Dennard.
Good evening. Good evening. Hey guys.
This is great. I'm hanging out with the Dennard guys.
Yes.
Couldn't be a better evening for that. And Ryan, obviously I've heard a lot about you, and it was time to bring you onto the show and give myself and my partner in crime there, your father, an opportunity to grill you in front of the millions of people that listen to this show.
Yeah, I've been running from this for a while, but I'm ready. He got me
Yes,
in
he
the corner,
was.
couldn't hide, so I have to. I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, this just feels much more special and different than just any other guest. So what we like to do is start at the beginning, and I'm guessing my co-host may have some insights on this. Take us back, Ryan. You're a child playing, the son of someone that I looked up to and one of my favorite players, Preston Dennard. You're a kid. Give us some insight into what that's like, how you got started in sports, how dad supported you, and we will take it from there.
All right. So let's take it from there with a different perspective. So my POV is my dad goes to work every day, and we get to go see him at his job. And then after his job, I can't see him because there's a bunch of people in my way trying to yelling at him and flashing all these bright lights at him. And there's music and they're screaming and yelling stuff at him. And I'm like, why are they in his face like that? Get out. This is my daddy. So that until I understood what was actually going on, that was my early experience with him. But then once I realized that it was all out of admiration and they were actually fans and they were appreciative of what of his performance, what he did, what he represented for the team and for the community, that's when I really took a liking to what he was doing and intrigued me into finding out more about what it was he did. And then I found contact, and then I was like, I think I'm a soccer for a little bit.
It's straight seriousness. That is a perspective we don't get on this show. Like, we don't talk to the child of a professional athlete. And I mean, you're just this little guy. You're the oldest of the Dennards, right?
Yeah.
So you're the firstborn, myself, a firstborn as well. That's a unique perspective. You're the first one experiencing it. Here's dad. What? Why are these people all up in my dad's grill? And why? What is it? What was that like emotionally for you? And then as you just became a little guy playing sports too, did it kind of make it a different experience?
It was in the beginning. Like I said, before I even understand, again, this is really young, really for toddler days. So I didn't really kind of grasp the sense of it. But I mean, as I got to experience it and appreciate it, understand what he was doing, and then I got into the sport, then it was all about, okay, I am now the son of professional football player Preston Dennard. So now it was, how do I become Ryan Dennard, athlete, as opposed to son of. So growing up, as I became to be like my dad, I was like, okay, I'm like my dad. Now I want to be me. And so now how do I go to be me so that I can show people that I'm just as good as him, or I can be just like him? And so that became the perspective from there, or the journey was, how do I become as good as my father to be able to compete like my father does in a sport that I grew to love just like he does. And then once I felt I was mentally at that point to where I can use that as a go and drive towards that goal, and I felt like I was making headway, making progress. Then my own identity came into count, and then I kind of wanted to address that and become my own person within the sport, honoring my father's journey as well while paving my own way.
That's incredible.
And you know, Stacy, the journey always started. I've got 5 boys, in which each one of them, the journey started with soccer. And with Ryan and the other 2 boys, it was indoor soccer, and this all started when they were young boys and I was in Buffalo. So that was the first introduction. Then they moved outside. We moved back to California for the off season. They got an outdoor, and everybody found out, boy, my boys can play some soccer. And Ryan had a Bigfoot. But take us through that little young journey, trying different sports, and why you didn't play football until your 8th grade year.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, there was one. There was a lot of hurdles getting to that point in the 8th grade year, but I wanted to try a bunch of sports due to the fact that I had a lot of interest. I've always had a wide range of interests of wanting to try different things all the time, and I always wanted to experience just different things, different aspects. Just the fact that I was out there being athletic, being able to exert energy and play and compete. And for the longest, I always was dabbing into playing football growing up. But one thing that I had to get over was my mother's permission. And so for the longest, that was the biggest. She did not want her baby to get hurt. She saw what's happening to her husband every week, and she didn't like that experience. So she really had that, she was kind of hesitant on really giving me the green light until my 8th grade year, and we were able to try it once. But again, growing up back with soccer and baseball, I think I really wanted to get in there and to try different things again, and not having that avenue to be able to play football, I was able to experience it through baseball and soccer. And so trying out, I went from defense playing fullback to, I think I was striker. Then I settled in at goalie, I think for my last few years as I think my middle school years. Was that right there? Yeah. And then I think before that was baseball, correct? Yeah. So Little League baseball, I think I went from T-ball up to coach pitch. That's what it was called. And I never transitioned to kid on, or what do they call it? Fast pitch. I think they called it, was it term? Yeah. So I never graduated to fast pitch. It was, I always wanted to play with my friends at coach pitch for a while. So as I got older, I transitioned from T-ball to soccer, and then once 8th grade hit, and I was, starting to mature a little bit, and voice got deeper, felt a little bit tougher. Started pressing mom a little bit. Let me get out there. Let me try it, and she allowed me finally. So 8th grade, 91, I believe, was the year.
I think it was, but it was unique because
Yes.
I've always coached my boys, every one of my boys. I coach them in soccer, basketball. Oh yeah, I coach them in every sport. I just, we all know this. Volunteering is a great thing and a great gesture. Not everybody is trained to do that and trained to handle young athletes the appropriate way. And what I was doing was developing young men and young ladies too we had, but most of the young men in the direction of where I had been and what was necessary. So a lot of it was getting over the fear. He was also a really good basketball player as a youth. And they all played basketball, AAU ball, and so on. But this young man outgrew me. He became 6'4", 6'4 and a half, and just a star. But tell us about when you first decided to play football. I had a rule. Do you remember that rule before playing football?
What was the rule? Oh, no, you gotta remember.
He forgot already. He's done.
I don't know how they forget, because every one of them had to deal with
it. As soon as you say it.
Except for my 3rd son. He was so daggone good that we had to let him play. But I always told my boys, if you want to play, let me know. Give me a year. Let me develop you mentally, emotionally, and physically. Yeah. And then you can play the following year. Ryan did that his 7th grade year. Evan, my 2nd son, did that. My 3rd son, Aaron, he was just too good. We couldn't keep him off, and I coached him. He started in the 6th grade. But my son PJ started in the 8th grade, and then my last one, knucklehead, not playing football. But anyway, that's what happened with the boys. And so take us through that. It's called Young America Football League here in New Mexico. Take us through, first of all, your first experience in hitting someone.
Oh my God!
I love these stories.
Oh, tell him about that first day and who it was.
Okay, if he ever sees this,
Oh no,
big shout out to Mr. Jeff Anaya.
Jeff.
Anaya, you are the one that made me the man I am to be able to compete and actually have a professional career, because you got me over my fear of contact and hitting and pain.
Wow.
Because once I was able to tackle you, I was able to tackle anyone else. Bigger than me, faster than me, whoever. Because after getting hit by you and being hurt and crying snot nose and couldn't do it, and I wanted to quit, and then coach made me get up and still back up 10 yards and run after you again full speed and hit you again, and then I finally did it, it was over after that. Yeah, I have you to thank for that.
That's
thank
epic.
you so much. So,
Jeff, somewhere Jeff's head is just sweat. This is making his day because we know some of the guys you played with and against, man. We'll get to that. Jeff, shout out.
So, 8th grade, Jeff and I pick any good-hearted movie from back in the day growing up where you had the big bully kid was like big as an ox, and he was big, and he was the one you had to get. Like, if you overcame that challenge, then movie was over. Good guys win. That was it. That's what he represented. He looked huge in those pads. Now, granted, we're in 8th grade, so we're kids.
No,
relative.
He was big. He was big.
He might as well have been the Hulk to me. And Coach McIntyre, thank you again. It's called Oklahoma drill, but it was individualized. So we had it. Ours was at I believe this one was at a slight angle. And so Jeff had the ball. He was running towards me. I had to run at him and do a slight angle tackle head on. And this is my first year in pads, not understanding how to hit, what's the proper way to hit, getting over that flight or flight second to go after him, erasing that. So it was just raw, fresh emotion. And I went through the entire cycle to get from point A to point Z. I passed C, D, E. I had to go all the way to Z just to get through this.
Oh, God.
So I hit it. So first time, running up, I'm over here just, whistle blows, patter, bam, boom. Here I am. Here's Jeff. Here I am. Ooh, right.
Been there.
So, tap the head. Good job. Everything spinning, bells and whistles, and I'm very quiet. Especially now that my bell is rung, I'm extremely quiet. I don't want anyone to know that I'm hurt. That I'm about one pat on the back away from tearing up. I'm, someone.
Yeah. That's the lesson. Yeah.
My cup is running over right now. So back to the end of the line. Coach makes me go back to the front of the line, brings Jeff. Go again. I wasn't expecting that. That just heart drop. I'm not ready for this. So in front of my boys, I can't let them see me like this.
Yeah.
Running there, full speed, eyes closed this time. Don't even know where I'm going. I just run until I feel contact. I don't even think I even threw my iron hands out. I just ran.
I didn't know that.
Looked over again. I get up, snot nose, everything. I think my mouthpiece flew a little bit. Chin strap already buckled.
God, I've been there.
Helmet stood aside. And get up. Now I'm like getting I'm upset, but I'm not there yet. Get back up there, do it again. Okay. Get back on there, fix it up. Okay. And then with a whistle. Bam. Done.
Oh, Jeff.
I can't do it. Yeah. I can't do this. Now, the thing about it that, growing up, you think about it, it's like, oh, I'm glad I was like this. I was tearing up and crying because I couldn't get the job done, not because of anything, but for the fact that I didn't look good and I didn't fulfill my purpose for the team. Like, my role wasn't there because I couldn't do the bare essentials. You can't tackle. That's the fundamentals of football. Yeah. So I was really embarrassed and upset that I was letting my people down. So that motivated me right there. And I think after that, the fourth time, it took 4 times. Mm-hmm. But that fourth time, I just remember growling and I just, remember the NFL little sound bites when they're doing the highlights?
Oh, yeah.
I just remember
You should listen to our theme song to the show. You'll hear
Yeah,
it.
that's right. That's right.
So I remember distinctly like making that sound to try to get something, just grill up something, and I made that sound. I just remember wrapping my hands, just consciously doing this, and eyes closed again. I just saw feet, and I did this, and I felt legs, and I just held on and wrapped up. And I don't know if I fell over. I don't know if he fell over. I just know we were on the ground, and people were patting and happy and all that. So after that, I was like, okay, I did it. This ain't so bad. I can do this.
God, I love
And
this
after that,
story.
it was over. Yeah, pads was fine after that.
Every overachiever that just heard that story absolutely relates to the second time, the third time. I'm starting to well up. I'm a hot mess. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe it's back to the chess club. Yeah. Dude, that is a great story. And you just dropped an Oklahoma drill on us. I don't even think they could do that anymore, right?
No, it's outlawed.
I think that's outlawed.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
outlawed. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was
Buddy.
it was interesting.
Well, you migrated to trying to find a position on the field. You were really good on defense, and to have you and Jeff on the same team was outstanding. But he emerged right away as a wide receiver in the 8th grade. I remember his first touchdown, over the shoulder catch, right corner of the end zone, sweet. And I said, he's ready. And what a fun journey it is. So now you play that 1 year, you go to high school, you end up being a 3-year starter after your freshman year. And they had you. Did you play like a defensive end on defense? Is that what it was, or
What didn't
like
I play?
strong safety? Yeah, that's
They
true.
were moving you. You were that guy that we all
they
hated.
had me- so back then they had that what do they call it? Was it flanker? Yeah,
Yeah, flanker.
flanker. Like, so I was a wing flanker.
That's amazing. You got to ask that because the offenses are crazy now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
was
it's so different.
So I would have been the FH back nowadays, I guess, or in more modern times. More like
Gotcha.
a receiver, fourth receiver. I did a lot. I was off the wing, but yeah. So I handed off the wing in a 2-point stance, just off the tight end. So that was my position there. So it's always
Oh.
wing back. So I started there, and then on the opposite side, I was defensive end. This was as a freshman, and then as I my freshman year, I went through each season. So I finished with every team. I started and ended with the freshman team, and then I moved to JV to finish with their season. And as a defensive end, I think they had me defensive end, linebacker, or safety, outside linebacker or strong safety. And then I went to defensive end, and I played the playoff games as a defensive end for the varsity team in the playoffs. So I graduated through all that, and so after that, I was able to confidently go to my mother and let me tell you the story before that.
I love mom stories.
Yeah. So, it's a great year, right? Freshman, just killing it, having a great freshman year. I get promoted to JV. Tell mom, that's great. Good job. Thanks. Dad's excited. Yeah, more games. Let's do this. Finish off the JV. I get added on to the varsity. Tell mom, I'm on varsity. I get to play. No, you are not playing varsity. Absolutely
Really?
not. She did not like that at all. She was not.
Wow.
Yes, it took me at least a day or two to convince her to allow me to play in the playoff game.
Oh.
Yes. So never mind, it's playing varsity as a freshman, excitement. Like I can't believe it. Like wow, I'm ready. And my dad's like, we're in the playoffs. Let's keep going. You've been doing great, Mom. No, you're good. You played.
Preston, how does that go with mom? Like, are you like, honey, can we talk for a minute? I mean, that's.
Oh yeah, we had to talk. we had to talk because this boy had some potential. I always tell the
I love
athletes,
it.
you either got potential or you don't, and you're not wasting time. But yeah, he had all the potential, and it was it was a great deal to see him as the oldest really emerge and evolve into the athlete he became. Plus, he had size. And so being a two-sport athlete in high school, just had a very successful career. As you grew, Stacy would love this too. As you grew through high school, you came into your own. But we got a great story, and I want you to tell it, Ryan, but I'm going to set you up on it. So when Ryan was a freshman, Ryan's a self-starter. He's that ideal young man you want in your household as an athlete. Because he would
Firstborn.
get up. Oh, yeah. He would get up in the morning. he'd go work out, he'd go train, he'd go do whatever he needed to do because he always sought excellence. He always wanted to be the best. And I did happen to tell him, I said, we're in New Mexico, so if you're not the best athlete, nobody's coming here.
Let me tell it. All right, so this is what I thought you were going to ask me.
Oh, I was going to say that too, but you go ahead and tell it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what it was. So when I first inquired about taking football seriously and wanted to, Dad, I want to follow your footsteps, blah, 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 blah. Like every son of a football player, right? I want to do what you do, Dad. Go for the stars. All right. Well, check this out. You're going to do it. Right now, you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you play 5A, was it 4A? I think 4A football in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So let me show you this. So he showed me, I think, at the time I had made like all city, or it was some small accolade. Okay, so he's like, okay, so now you are the best in 4A football in Albuquerque. So you got to be this good. Now you got to be, not only got to be this good, now you have to be as good as the best receiver in the state. Not only got to be the best receiver in the state, you got to be the best receiver in the Southwest region. Not only got to be the best receiver in the Southwest region, you got to be the best receiver in the West Coast. You only got to be the best receiver in the West Coast. You got to be the best receiver in the country. You know what I'm saying? Not only got to be the best receiver in the country, you got to be the best receiver, period, if you want to make it to the NFL. So it was like, you have to see it for what it is. It's like, listen, you come from a small market. Like, granted, you want to tell your kids and your children that anything's possible, that you can make anything happen with your mind's to it. Yes, but that's you and everyone else. You know what I'm saying? You are special and an individual just like everyone else is. So you're no different, right? So with that aspect, that in mindset, I had to know that, okay, I'm great now, but who did what in Philadelphia, or who did what in Georgia, or what receiver in California or in Texas, in those football bred, states, what did they do? Oh, they did twice as much as you did. Okay, let's get back into that. You know what I mean? So that's the way it is. Oh, how fast was your 40? Oh, you was this. Well, how fast did he run? Okay, well, how tall is he? He's 6'5". Oh, let me get back in the lab. Like that's how I looked at it. Like I'm not just good here. I'm okay here and there. That's not good enough. I need to be great here and then good here, okay here, and then I need to build on that and make everything great as I build my my repertoire up or my skill set. So that was that's something that he grained in us was.
And here's how he got there. It was a frustrating time for me. I thought I had sparked something. I said, okay, fine. Yeah. So he's a freshman. He's going to train and work out. And then he became a sophomore, and he's big time now. And he's, Dad, can you take me to school? I'll need to work out. What time is it? It's 5:30. What? Nobody's there. Coach is going to be there every day of the week.
Really?
I ended up doing this. Here, man, take the keys. Yeah. Just come back and get me.
That was the angle. That was the angle all along.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the car.
The long con.
Man, this is such great insight. So Pops is pushing the envelope. By the way, he does that on this show, too. He tells me to get my act together constantly. But he's pushing you a little bit, and you just got that fire burning in you. You were all state. You're playing multiple sports and multiple things. What happens now when you get to your senior year? Obviously, mom acquiesced and let you play varsity football.
Yeah.
At some point. Now comes college.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience, because you went to a couple different campuses. We have to talk about your 3 touchdowns against San Jose State.
Yeah. Well,
there's some stuff to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to backtrack though and focus more on the senior year a little bit.
Oh, please. Absolutely.
I think that'd be important just to share with people in case, they ever wonder. I guess so. Taking that question and applying it to my high school years, I guess my senior year, what that was like. Now, playing 2 sports. I was playing basketball as well. So I was 2 sport varsity. What do you call it? Letterman.
Yeah, Letterman.
Yeah. So for 3 years, so as a sophomore, I was playing varsity for both basketball and football. I held the same passion for both sports. Basketball, I saw basketball, even though football was my primary sport that I want to excel in. Believe it or not, I was more recognizable, or I was recognized more for my basketball accolades at the time.
Interesting.
Than I was for football. Okay. I wasn't tall for a basketball player. I was average, 6'3", 6'4". I mean, I was a 4, post at 6'3", 6'4". So you can see, the I guess the talent base. We didn't, it wasn't really the in-depth 6'7", 6'8" type, body count. We had the smaller guys, and I was me and Jeff Anaya, believe it or not, playing off of each other, 4 and a 5, growing up. But as a two-sport athlete, trying to get, okay, yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. So, one thing, so the bright side, I was excelling in sports. I was killing it. What year was the golf tournaments and the basketball games? Was that after?
Oh, that ended up being 95 when we started. So
Okay.
you were in middle high
Mid-90s.
school.
Yeah, so I was making him famous, and during his basketball sports exhibition, we're gonna talk about that later. Yeah, remind me, Stacy.
Okay, you got it. I will not let you forget.
Please. Yes, he needs that, especially after his little comment about marriage.
No, they don't
That was
know
off
about
the
that.
that was
Yeah,
off
this
the
is
air.
definitely
That was
get
off
back.
the air, but
Oh,
okay.
so thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, you'll get that. Okay, so going back, so the bright spots, football, sports, everything, I'm doing great. What I was struggling in was the reason why my mother was the way she was about sports, academics.
Yeah.
I was not being the student to the student athlete as much as I was being the athlete of the student athlete. So I was until I think, well, really college is when it worked, it turned it on. But high school, I mean, easily admitted, I was your typical athlete, the typical stereotypical athlete, where football, sports was first, and I just need to get how much I need to get to keep playing ball.
2.5.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Well, what I get? A D? What does that mean though? Can I still play?
Can
Okay.
I start? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my attitude until SAT came out, and then clearinghouse, and I had to get what was the score that I had to meet? We had to meet.
Yeah,
It was a certain.
800.
I had to meet a certain score, a certain criteria to be able to get clear for the scholarship. And
Wow.
I was teetering the line, the whole senior year, all junior year, and it was due to me. And all the passion, all the responsibility, accountability, and discipline I applied to sports, I didn't match it 100% to athletic or to school. And it showed its head towards the end, where I had a scare where I almost wasn't awarded my scholarship due to the fact that I was teetering the line, and one test here, one project here was 1.2 low, and now I'm not taking it seriously, and I could possibly not have a scholarship now taken away.
Wow.
Just due to the fact that I wasn't taking care of business, even more so to allow myself, a nice, comfortable ride out of senior year. I'm over here trying to make up points and taking tests and doing extra credit and making sure I get A's on every test, stressing just to make sure that my GPA rises by the time I graduate. And so I did all of that just to graduate with a 2.6. Terrible. So, and now to me, I'm studious, right? Bookworm. I'm putting all kinds of stuff in. I'm studying, doing extra credit here, extra projects. And you would have thought that I had a 4.0 valedictorian, GPA. No, I'm just trying to make sure I don't mess this up, Okay. So by the grace of God and by my mom's, crack whip discipline and dad's optimism and passion, and he kept motivating me every day. I got through it. I was able to get my GPA and graduate on time, and
Nice.
like nothing happened. So one thing that, as far as my dad taught me, was the athletic side. But one thing I didn't share was, before I started this journey as a high school, my mother and I had a conversation, and she stressed the student side. She graduated high school at 17, a year early. That's that's how she was. She's very studious, very smart, and it was all about the books. And if I didn't take care of that, nothing else mattered, to her. So between the two of them, I mean, I got, student and athlete. Of course, my dad was a student as well, but really on her side, that she was specialized. That's what she focused on. So I was able to get through it, with her help and my dad's motivation. But it was really important to her, and stand still the test of time till today, the importance of being a student first before you're the athlete, as you become that through college. But yeah, I just felt I had to get that out. That shit.
It's,
Moving on to college.
Ryan, I mean, that's fantastic for a young guy listening to this show, young guy or girl listening to the show to hear, man. Thanks for being vulnerable. Yeah, I was more like your mom. I graduated at 17 too, but I ran a 4.740 at 155 pounds, and I couldn't play ball, so I had to do it. But all of that aside, what an incredible kind of putting you on the spot here, but to have a dad. I mean, as my friend, your dad is very motivational. He keeps me pumped up. He's very inspiring, and your mom, she's like, you're not going to get your lip busted in. You're gonna learn a thing or two. That's a great combo. A lot of kids don't have that.
Oh yes, very fortunate. Very fortunate. Yeah. I mean, and even now, like after you put the game away, and I became Clark Kent, as I put it. and I'm a citizen now, living day to day. And I actually had worked a few years at a residential treatment center for teenage really? Offenders. Yes.
Oh wow.
So that was an eye opener, because you start to hear the stories of the origins and how they got to that point, and you see what they were brought up in. And I don't know if Dad even remembers, if he can test this, but I mean, there were times that I would just call randomly and say, "Hey, I want to let y'all know that, man, I'm so blessed that y'all were my parents, because I know what it could have been like. So thank you for." And then there would be moments where, like, I remember I did something that if I, as a parent, would have saw, do that, no. But they had the patience and the know-how to look beyond the action then and see the lesson in it, and allow me to learn and keep me safe and learn the lesson. And these kids, I mean, they were going through it. And I was just like, my heart goes out to them. I'm like, I understand, you did what you did. I get that, but your life, so saying that is, I understand. I know what I have, basically what I'm getting at. I know what I brought up in. I know what it could have been. I know what my life could have ended up like. And basically my life was full of how exciting or how pleasurable can my life be today, as opposed to, how am I going to figure out life? They allowed me to do that early on my years, to where now I can my life is considered how well I want to enjoy it, because I know how to go. Yeah. And that was instilled for them. So blessing. And I reckon.
That's
and
awesome.
Stacey, one of the great things that I used sports for was life lessons and challenging my boys to be all they can be if they go out there. And what I told them was, if you're going to play this game that I played, you better get serious about it, because it can hurt you. But I took that to a place in competition. It didn't matter what it was. If you're going to play, compete at your highest level. So I'll throw in a little story. Ryan is a junior in high school, and he's playing against this high school here that had two twins, big 6'6" brothers from Highland High School, and they were a pretty good team. But we had a really talented young team. And Ryan, because of his size, he had to battle against these big boys. First half, they took him almost just, I don't even know what cliche I can use, but
woodshed.
Woodshed. And Dad was not happy.
Oh.
Halftime comes. Oh, he knows this. He remembers this. Halftime comes. I go into the lobby where they come through to go to the locker room, and I'm waiting on him to come through the doors. Everybody's coming through, all the teammates, and all of a sudden, here he comes. I grab him, pull him to the side. You remember what I told you?
Oh, boy.
No, all I heard was barking and just pins and needles, man.
I told him.
Well, no, I do remember, but I'm purposely not saying.
Oh!
It was unpleasant.
Yeah, you guys were you'd be demonetized if I told what he said. However, the gist was,
I love it.
Change your draws and get back out. It's basically
okay. Preston Dennard has it in him, folks.
Oh yeah. But he went out there. He went out there and he balled the second half. I just wanted him to grow up and to be able to deal with challenges that appear to be larger than life, and you'll find out you'll bring them into your own fold. And so I use those moments to educate him, to train him in athletics, because we know how valuable athletics are in everyday life. And it changed my life. We know that story. But it was one of the great things. he goes on to have a successful high school career, plays an all-star game. And he ended up playing basketball all-star game and not the football all-star game. We talked about that.
Yeah.
But as he's being recruited, one of the things Ryan talked about earlier was, when I was telling him, hey, there's 6'4" wide receivers in Arizona, California. How many of you think are in Florida? There's about 30 of you in Florida that are going to get scholarships. Forget about them. Let's go. And it was starting to get a little tough because he had heard from a whole bunch of people, but we know those letters. So I go to what used to be the Freedom Bowl, I think it was, in Las Vegas. No, Las Vegas Bowl. That's what it was, Las Vegas Bowl. Yeah. And they would hold a celebrity golf tournament. I was one of the celebrities. University of Nevada's playing this one year, so it had to be like 97, something like that, 96, 97, and his senior year. And they're playing that December in the middle of his senior year in that bowl game. And Nevada's staying at the hotel that I'm staying at. And they come out, and I happen to see one of the coaches, and I don't know him. I said, Coach, how you doing? He sees my ring. I had my Super Bowl ring on, and we started a little conversation. And I just asked him, I said, hey, Coach, you guys done with your recruiting? You got everything you want? He says, yeah, we're pretty much wrapped up, but, if we could find an athlete, we'd take a look at him. I said, well, I don't know how much of an athlete he is, but I may have a young man you may want to look at. And they said, yeah, well, who is he? I said, well, what we have to do to introduce him to you? You got any videotape on him, information on him? I said, well, how about if we send it to you? So I went back, didn't even tell Ryan. I had him we put the package together. We shipped it to University of Nevada. I get the call back, and they said, Preston, the offense and the defense are fighting over your son. We want it. And this was late. This is late in the recruiting process. Yeah. And we've been to a couple places, but, really wasn't happy yet. That's how I got to Nevada. Go ahead and tell that journey.
That's amazing.
Can I give the 1A to the story?
Oh, of course you can.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So let me give you my mindset throughout this whole recruiting process. And because when he was talking about it was getting tough, largely now, again, I've been doing well, being successful, and now we're getting to the recruiting process, and we get to the part where now how do I stack up against everybody in the country, because now scholarships need to be offered. So growing up, this is in the early mid '90s. So I'm watching in high school every Saturday morning. Dad, who were my receivers? Who did I watch?
Florida State guys, wasn't it?
That's right.
Oh,
I was watching Peter Warwick.
Peter Warwick.
Those were my guys. I tried to emulate myself to look and run and act just like them, because I would just watch them and just try to look like them, because they were the best. They were considered.
He was so versatile. Yeah,
right.
He was so versatile.
And granted, I don't know that they're half my size, quick. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm just like, I'm 6'3". I could do that too. I gotta be nimble. So I'm over here. I'm doing the stance with the hands up. I'm leaning forward like they are. Him, Peter Ward, E.G. Green was another one. I used to watch a lot. Oh my God!
Trying to think of that era. Was Rocket Ishmael in that time period?
He was out that time. Yeah, I think he was.
Number 4, he was a quarterback. Then he went to receiver. Cardinals. Anquan Bolden.
Anquan Bolden.
Yeah.
So I would watch these guys religiously every Saturday, every chance I got, and so I tried to carry that over. So fast forward to senior year, my first letter sent it to Florida State. Send it out there, and I get the introductory response letter. Right, I'm on cloud 9. It's like they know I exist. So, of course, now my ego, I want to go play to a big school, so I'm sent Wisconsin. Anybody that you see on ABC, NBC on Saturday, I'm sending those schools, letters, and I'm getting those introductory responses. But they're sending me letters, but they're not biting, obviously. But I don't know that. I got a letter. That's all I need. I'm showing everybody. So I'm getting these letters, and then now it comes down to the nitty gritty, like what's going on. I'm getting offers for visits, but it's New Mexico State. It's New Mexico. It's
New Mexico State.
And then it's now granted. Okay, so granted now it's like, of course you would go there, free ride. But here's my ego. I want to go to a big school. I'm from a small city. I got a lot to prove. I want to go to a big school where I deserve. I need to be there. Well, it doesn't happen. Now the ego gets crushed, starts to get chipped and damaged, starting to break away, and reality starts to center that I'm not as good as I thought I was, or people don't feel that I'm as good as I thought I was. So now the transition is to get to reality, and then I'm kind of losing hope in myself. And then this is when Nevada transitions in, and then I realize that I do have some value, and I start looking into University of Nevada and New Mexico and New Mexico State and the smaller schools, just kind of check it out. And then I didn't realize how much of a high-powered offense Nevada had and how well they were doing. Smaller market, of course, but that doesn't matter. It's about the game in the long run, and I can learn. So once I realized that, everything kind of turned around. But what continue on. What do I need to go to from there? What do you want to transition?
This is fantastic. I mean, this is like we're hanging out in the Dennard living room. This is fantastic. I want to ask you a question because I can already I say this every show, but I can see a part 2 coming because well, you just offer something unique. I mean, you talked about your parents' influence, and I know that's Dad's sitting right here, and that's kind of different. And but you're a firstborn. I'm a firstborn. And I didn't have your athletic ability. Wish I did. But how have you? I just meeting you. I love how vulnerable and transparent you are. Like you tell the truth. How have you impacted your little brothers with all this stuff? Do you mind me asking you that, Ryan?
Yeah. So it was a little bit different growing up. I was not like this. I would you really consider your typical introvert.
Yeah, I'm an introvert. Yeah, I get that.
I was the guy in the corner in the picture. I'd always be the one on the side in the corner. If we see me at a party, I was in the corner, bobbing my head to the music.
Okay.
And, I was the one that you heard every rumor about, but it never came from me. And that was so. Growing up, we had a weird relationship. Me and my brothers, very competitive.
I get it.
For favor or competition or what have you, but. Like we were at odds with each other a lot in very non-verbal way. It was kind of weird. But I think once I came back from college, and my brother had became an adult, I came back to visit from Reno after my first year, winter semester, and I saw my brother when I was out, and we haven't talked at that time we hadn't really talked at all for like 2 years, even though I just left. We don't really talk at all, and so. I came home. I just saw him out downtown, and we just hugged for like 5 minutes in front of everybody.
It's different.
Two grown men. Don't say nothing. Just what's up? Bam, and we just held it for like 5 minutes. Longest awkward 5 minutes probably for a lot of people. But from there, I think it was like just our way of saying like we're adults now. Let's talk. Let's get to know each other for real this time.
Yeah.
And, not fight over candy. So
you're not alone, my man. I mean, I have a baby brother, and I ignored him the entire time growing up, and now I can't imagine 5 seconds of my life without him. It's just there's something happens, right? Yeah. You grow up, I guess, right?
It's just you hit a wall, and all of a sudden it's like it never existed, like there was never that dynamic. Yeah. So mid-20s on 30s till now, our relationships gotten stronger, both my brothers. But I think as one thing that I instilled, I think that they took from me was the consistency, the integrity and consistency that I went towards my goals. One thing that my brother Evan always mentioned was that when he first came to visit, when I was at ASU, I think this was before. So I was at Phoenix College, 98. And at the time I was staying with my grandparents. So, had a room down there. So what I did was I had these flashcards, and they were categorized different colors. But I would write my goals, what I want, life goals, and went like no matter how ridiculous it was, on my own island, up there, car, blah, 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 this kind of car, bam, right there. And I just have them all on my wall. And I think one time he came to visit and he saw that, and he said, after he saw that, he said his whole life, like his whole, like, I guess his depiction on life or whatever just changed right then and there, because he was like, I didn't really realize that, you had so much passion that you really look to do all these things. Like you never really talk about it, but you have aspirations. I'm like, yeah, I do. I want to do a lot with myself just because I'm just doing one thing. I got interest. And so once he realized that, I think he opened up to me about what he'd like to do with himself and what he wants to accomplish. And he's an artist at heart. So he creates artistic. So he's art, he's sound. That's his thing. He's about sound and rhythm. So he became a producer and he went that way. So he got into music. My other brother, my other brother follows my brother like I follow my dad.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
So he followed him in the music game and all that, like I follow my dad in football. So we all kind of, kind of follow each other. And I gotta say this, I admit it, but I think I'm the only one that doesn't have a musical talent like everybody else. Everyone can sing, rap, or play an instrument or do something. I can clap on beat. So
I got the head bob down.
Yeah,
I got that down.
I got that down since 98. I've had a head bob down. But
it's fascinating to be with a family and just why. Like I see so much. Look, I'm going to say it. It's uncomfortable. I see so much of your dad and you, and then to hear about your brothers and they follow in your dad's musical footsteps and his creative bent that he has. I've always been, as a firstborn, I guess I'm kind of leaning into you on this, that you've got there's this responsibility, and you went on to be a pro athlete, a very, a successful one in the NFL and elsewhere. But you're the firstborn, and your brothers all look at you and go, how do I be like that guy? And I'm fascinated to hear that journey for you. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I got to talk to them.
Yeah. So well, my brothers, they wanted to emulate my success, but not really my journey. Yeah. They always found other interests, and like even talking now, like we've kind of grew apart in our visions and path, but we're all both heading in the same direction, essentially. So I think it was, especially my brother Evan. I speak to him a lot because he lives in the same city as me. But when we get together, we speak on times like that, and he always mentions the fact that when it came to watching me do certain things, he always made sure that everyone knew that he was my brother, that we knew each other.
Yeah.
And so when I did something, and he'd go around there and do it too, like not necessarily the same thing, but he would accomplish the same accolade in his own way. You know what I'm saying? And as he kept doing that, he found out that he became his own man, his own person, and that he could find success no matter what he was doing outside of football. So that's where his journey led him, and where he found his business or his flashcards and all that. He found his way to put his stamps on his goals, and he achieved it that way too. So for him, it was more or less finding what works for him through what I was doing vicariously through me, and then finding his own path. On my end, my perspective was that I cannot mess up at all. Mm-hmm. I put pressure on myself. Yes. Yeah. Yep. I always to me, it's my parents are looking at me, my brothers, my family's looking at me, and God's looking at me.
Yep.
And the only one that can see me 24/7 is God, and so I can't hide from him. So, you know what I mean? I went through life knowing that if I'm doing wrong, then somebody's watching me doing wrong, and so you know what I mean. So I always had the thing on my back where there's a camera on me and someone's watching, because how are you representing yourself right now? Are you representing Dennard's right? If someone was to you right now, what would happen? And very so nice. Growing up, I was so concerned about the image and what I represented, going through that discipline, integrity, sticking to what sticking to your path, especially through the tough times, especially when it seems like it's not working out or it's not going to happen. That's when, more importantly, you need to stick to it and get through it. And so I made it a point to show that more than say it. Like my actions spoke more, just me being that natural, quiet person. And so I believe that the stresses from that allowed me to kind of lead a path of integrity for him to follow as well.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing. And listen, we're running long. I just pressed in. You
what time is it?
You're the boss. But I want to talk about football, but I think I'm going to skip it this time, if that's okay.
Okay.
I want to ask something interesting, and Dad, don't let me dominate here. I'm just really enjoying Ryan here. As an introvert myself, a firstborn myself, and hearing how you're such a driven guy, you got the goals on the wall. I'm embarrassed to admit mine are to my left off camera right here. You got into the martial arts at one point. And I want to talk football, but I think we're going to have to do it another time, because we're keeping you late. We're going beyond. Dad said it was okay, so I'm doing it. You got into the martial arts, which can be intense. It's also introverted. It's singular. And I'm curious what Mom thought of that after not wanting to get hurt. I'm curious what Dad thought of that. What got you into the martial arts before we get into our 2-minute drill with you.
Man, what was the number one 80s martial arts movie?
I'm a Bruce Lee kid, so.
Okay.
Was that like Jean-Claude Van Damme, maybe?
Thank you. Bloodsport, man.
Okay, all right.
Bloodsport. Okay.
Come on now.
Oh, Bloodsport, right? Okay. I'm
Man,
embarrassed.
with my long legs, those spinning kicks.
Oh, I saw Kareem do this with Bruce Lee. I watched Kareem and
Yes.
Bruce Lee do this. Probably a friend of your dad's.
Well, I wasn't allowed to watch that one just yet. My first introduction to martial arts was Bloodsport.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was on TV. Yeah, so I was able to watch it. I know,
PG.
weird, right?
So was mom and dad a fan of this? You getting into martial arts?
Yes and no. So I have an interesting journey with martial arts. Martial arts was something that was always throughout my career. Not even career, I said my life period. Because it happened before. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the actor Ho Young Pak played Donatello. And I think 1 or 2. Anyway, he gave me a free lesson. I think it was Kenpo or what have you. And when he saw me, and because when I saw that, and it was like Donatello's going to teach me free lesson. Man, I was in line. I was yes sir, no sir, I'm gonna getting into it, trying to show him everything. So he introduced me. He said, you know what? He told my mom this, and I just remember him saying this. He said, with your son's long legs, he should get into capoeira. So capoeira is the Brazilian art form where it's a martial art that's hidden in dance mainly, and so so it's what the slaves used to kind of to train martial arts and hide it from the slavers. That's kind of like the general gist. There's a lot more to it than that, but capoeira is kind of martial art, and plus me being a black person, I wanted to instill more of that in me. So I was like, oh, there's a martial art that black people, African Americans, Africans know. I want to learn that too. Well, I never went that far, but when I started learning that and looking into it, I got more and more, intrigued by different martial arts. And then seeing the movies, everything's kind of grandiose. So the honor and the respect and the discipline and the accolades and the achievements you get that you see in the movies. I'm like, can you do that for real? Because this is back when you weren't really sure that, someone could really do a death touch. It was back in the rumor time. So as a kid, I'm still thinking that's kind of real, So I started off with Kenpo. I went from Kenpo, I got to like a blue belt? Purple.
Wow. What is a brown? Is it brown
it was green, black. It was green, brown, and black at that studio. So I was a blue belt at the time. I was 3 away from black belt, or 2 away from black. So I got there, and then that's when we moved to Albuquerque at the time. So I stopped doing that. When we got to Albuquerque, a friend, I don't know if it was a friend or how you knew him, but there was a gentleman who had a son that wanted to learn football. And his father happened to be a master of Tai Chi. So I learned Tai Chi in the summer while his son was learning to play football with my dad. And so they kind of changed services. So during my early years in high school, I was doing Tai Chi. Then from there, my first job at Domino's in high school as a sophomore.
Nice.
And I got introduced to a friend of mine named Aiden. And Aiden was, at the time, him and his brother were competing amateur locally as Muay Thai kickboxers in Albuquerque. And from there, from my sophomore to senior, I would occasionally get into the Muay Thai. And once I saw how Muay Thai was, that was it. I loved it. I stuck to that. It fit my body frame. I wasn't very flexible, and the kicks were, low, sweep kicks. So I was able to do those mid-range kicks. I couldn't really do high kicks. So this kind of felt better for me. Plus, with my long frame, I could generate a lot of force with my kicks. So it allowed me to kind of, be a little more athletic and kind of build my body up even more. So from sophomore year to senior year, I was practicing doing kickboxing. And then from there, after football, I think once I was done, I'd always did kickboxing as training. But once I was done, I still had that itch because football was taken from me. My career was taken. So I was still competitive. And I was late 20s, early 30s. I still had stuff to do. So Scott Peters, he was my center at ASU. He went on to play as a center for, I think, the Eagles, the Giants, a couple of the teams. Had a great career. He opened up a gym. At the time, it was called Fight Ready in Scottsdale, Arizona. And he allowed me to go in there and train. And so at the time, he had jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, all different types of coaches all came to this one location and able to bring their clients and train there. So we had just a great multitude of different arts and disciplines there to be able to work out. So I wanted to do MMA so I can stay in shape, keep that competitive edge, but just to stay in shape. I didn't want to compete.
Yeah.
A month later, I'm in my first fight. So what happened was I went to Muay Thai. First 3 days, I went from the beginner class to the advanced class in 3 days. I had to test. I tested out. I got my shorts, and then I went to the advanced class so I could train the fighters for their fights. So I would spar them, and so sparring them got me even more, advanced in my little technique to the point where they tricked me into competing in the tournament, in the Bad Blood tournament. So I'm going there. I'm like, okay, I'll do this for a couple of days. Cool. Hey, why don't you come help us spar after a session? Just help our guys get ready. And so I'm getting them ready, getting beat up, bam, bam, like, oh, you guys are fast. Half of the guys are whooping my butt. Legs are tore up. I'm just like a 6'3", just kicking pole. And then I think the first Bad Blood tournament comes up. He said, why don't you go ahead and just give it a shot? And I don't know. And then here I was a week later, start making sure I'm ready, sparring 2 people a night, every night to get in shape for this fight. And then I don't remember what year that was, but I remember telling him, and he was just over the moon about it. He thought it was the silliest thing, but it was like, hey, this is you. Go for it. And I know you had fun. You tell me, ask me, but I must say I am undefeated. I can say that about my career.
I was going to bring it up.
Yeah. And I got to add to that, too. That
Please.
First fight, I went to see him, and I think it was Gila River. Was it out there at that casino?
No, the first fight was Wild Horse Pass.
Yeah, Wild Horse Pass. So anyway, I get there, Stace, and he's getting ready to walk up on stage and everything. And I said, hey, he walks by me because he's got to walk up there, right? And I said, hey, I didn't come here to see my son get knocked out.
Wow.
I said, because
No
I said, it's the last time I'll ever come see you. And he got up there, and in that first, I don't know if it was the first, I think it was the first, I guess you call it a round, the first round. Yeah. And he sort of did a swing or something, kind of lost his balance a little bit, and the guy tried to swing, missed him.
Oh, yeah.
But Ryan ended up slipping and falling. Yeah. And I went, oh my God. I start turning around to the doors, and all of a sudden he gets up, he goes out and knocks the guy out. I said, okay, I'm good.
Wow.
It's slippery.
Wow.
They don't tell you how slippery it is on that mat, man. Oh, God.
Yeah,
oh,
you're barefoot, right? You're barefoot. You're just like yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, my feet, I got athletes. I'm all callous. So, I'm slipping all over it. I have no grip whatsoever in my feet. So I tried to throw a high kick, which I'm able to do, but no, the feet didn't hold up. So I slipped, and yeah, it was bad.
Oh my God, Ryan, this has been a pleasure, and we're not. I promise we are gonna do part 2 because we need to hear about your football career and how that impacted you. But we are gonna move into the Preston Dennard 2-minute drill, and this is where it gets fun. So sit back, take a deep breath, and over to Mr. Number 88.
All right, thank you, my friend. You see, I had to put my glasses on so I could really
saw that.
see.
Got serious.
Okay. All right, son, you ready? All
Yes,
right,
sir.
you know about the 2-minute drill, so it's either or, quick-witted response. We just want to hear what's coming from you. Grass.
Hold on. We got a defensive change here. Who's that safety in the back?
Safety in the back. In the back of
You.
Oh, you're talking about me? Or?
Oh.
I see my brother back there trying to watch the.
Back
Did
here.
you sneak into
I see you
studio
back
there? Okay.
I don't see him now.
It's
But he
wild
must be
times
behind
at the
me.
Dennard abode. It's wild times. Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
2-minute drill.
Okay.
Here we go. Grass or turf?
Grass. Come on.
All right. Here's a good one. Indoor or outdoor state? Ooh.
Oh,
Already
that
know
was
where we're
fast.
And a 7-year Arena League career. And
I know.
Okay. I like
An
that.
Ironman
You
winner.
know what Arena League did to my knees?
Well, I know. Oh,
Next
and
show.
Next show, because there's a good one I got
Part
to tell
2.
on that. Part 2. All right. Enchiladas, being from New Mexico, or Dad's pancakes?
Oh.
Oh, okay. Mom's green chili enchiladas, and Papa's pancakes.
Oh, that's my dad, Grandpa.
First
Well, that's
born
where I learned it from. So, okay, what the
knows how to
heck?
play the game.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay. Your favorite movie?
Don't do this to me. Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu. Okay. Do you know that one, Stace?
Yeah, that's a classic.
It's a
I thought he
very
was going to
classic.
say Bloodsport or, Enter the Dragon or something, but he drops Shaka Zulu. God, you're
All right.
well-rounded in that house. Okay.
Okay. I like it. Okay. Here's one you got to think about. The most underrated teammate at any level, whether it was Yaffle, youth, all the way up to the pros, the most underrated teammate you thought never got credit.
Jeff Ayala comes to mind.
Yeah, Jeff and I. Yeah.
Jeff Anaya comes to mind.
Yeah, he gets credit. Man, look. First name jumps into mind, Justin Taplin, Saya Burley at Arena, Oshawante Bryant.
Wow.
They jump out right away. Pros. Freaking LaDainian Thomason, he didn't get credit when I was there at all. Not the way he does now, but then when I was there, like he wasn't getting the shout out.
Agree.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Man, okay, and at the time was Drew Brees.
Okay.
Okay. Agree with that one.
With the
All right.
Chargers. Got it.
The Chargers, yeah. Okay. All right. And we're going to talk
Okay.
about that because my buddy James
High
Lofton,
school,
Coach Ryan.
Bobby Wagner.
Bob. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, yeah. He was an outstanding athlete in high school and in college. And I think he got drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nevada, Trevor Inslee.
Okay. Trevor Inslee. I
God,
remember
I
him
love
too.
this, man. Shout out
All
to
right.
teammates.
Your greatest football achievement?
Parameters.
The what?
Parameters. What are parameters? Anything?
Nope.
Oh.
It just can't be X-rated, but
Yeah. There you
Nope.
go.
I was keeping it here.
Keep it here.
I don't hear about a bus and
Parameter.
cheerleaders, none of that.
Okay. And the last one.
Okay, yeah, no, this
Wait.
this performance created that. But 2007 Arena against the Arizona Rattlers, Utah Blaze, Arizona Rattlers, 2007.
Okay.
All
I love
Iron
it. I love
Man.
it.
Teaser
All
for
Iron
next
Man.
show. All Iron Man.
All Iron
Teaser.
Man of the week, 7 touchdowns. I don't know how many catches.
Damn.
But I literally played every down that game. Special teams, offense and defense, every down.
Wow.
No, I came out once. I cramped. I got a cramp after one of my teams.
Of course. All right. The last one. Who plays you in a movie about your life?
Okay, so probably not now, so please don't do this. But The Rock and Morris Chestnut, where I say people say I favor them. Idris Elba, I favor them a lot. So I would say one of them three.
Awesome choice. I might add, every girl I dated when I was single was in love with Idris Elba and Morris Chestnut. I mean, it was just like, it was ridiculous. And Epps, too. Omar Epps. I was like, oh my God, I can't compete.
That was probably the one case where we all looked like fit me perfect. I would take that.
Love it.
It's a good comp. Okay, one final question, and then we'll wrap it up this week on Gridiron Icon. And keep it above board. Doesn't know it's coming. Give us one thing about your dad that we don't know, in a good way, a good thing. We're not looking for TMZ stuff. No TMZ stuff. What is something about your dad that nobody knows that we should know?
All right, Bill Cosby level, 7 o'clock. This man knows how to eat some ice cream.
Oh, he's an ice cream lover.
I had you in the first half of that, didn't I?
Yeah, I was getting a little worried there.
Yeah, I had you in the first half. Yeah.
He likes ice cream?
This
Really?
man,
I don't do it that much anymore.
If it doesn't matter what room we're in that house, if he's eating correct ice cream, you will know about it.
It's that exciting. He's that excited about it.
Every scoop of that ice cream, every morsel.
Wow. There you go, folks. We come with the real stuff here at Gridiron Icon. Welcome
If you give
in.
me ice cream, you want it after you hear him eating ice cream. Like that's
All right, Bean. I wasn't going to throw that nickname out, but okay.
Hey, don't be doing that.
Oh, teaser.
We'll go all out. I'll put it all out there.
Part two.
Teaser for part 2 is loaded. It's loaded.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you what a pleasure it's been to hang out with the Dennards tonight. Thank you guys both so much. Ryan, long overdue. You're coming back for part 2, and the pressure is
Yes, sir.
real because I'll just have your dad chase you. So
Yes. You know where I live now, so
he knows where you live. That's right. And I'm already thinking we need to have Mom on at some point, but we'll get there. We'll get there. If we can talk her into it. Oh, okay. Love it. Well, what a pleasure tonight with the Dennards. For those listening in, follow us. You'll see this in all its glory on YouTube and all the major podcast hosts and networks. Again, to the iconic Ryan Dennard, part 2 is coming with all sorts of teasers. We will see you next week. Thanks again for myself and Preston. We will see you soon.